All right, so the front is dried a little bit, and I'm going to turn this around, and I am going to do the inside of the cover. So I pulled out again some of this stuff for out of my box or my bin of junk, and just stuff that I would normally collage with. And let me move some of this stuff out of my way. Things like this was out of a magazine, an image that I had torn out. I was going to use for something. This was something I fussy cut out of a magazine that was laying in there. Random book pages. This one is recipes. This really cool vintage 1960s check. Bank check, and this is Sears and Roebuck page, you know, another piece of book page. This was magazine images from the Reminisce magazine, and then some pieces of, you know, random packaging. This is wild blueberry on here, and book pages. So typically what I'll do is I will kind of see what I have where I don't have to cut much. Like for example, this sheet would take up almost the whole side of this page. The bird would take up a lot of the page. You can layer, so bird, and then I kind of like these ripped out where this book was stapled together. I kind of like the staple, this little notch, so I might leave that as it is. And then I have this section that I could do. I'm not going to make it too fancy or too fussy. Maybe I could put the buggy and wagon wheels there at the bottom. So I'm just going to tear this. I kind of like the 22, so if I can keep the 22 somehow, and most of the 795 buggies, 765 for a set of wagon wheels. Isn't that amazing? And then on this side, let's move a little bit of things here. I have my tea, I don't want to spill it, but I would do something like, you know, like this, or maybe like this. And then I was thinking the check could go here maybe, or here if I do the whole thing, like that. And then I would do, you know, fill in. And then you've got the girl, she can go in there somewhere. I mean, it's all fun. It's all just playing around. So let me do this side because I'm pretty sure that that's what I want to do over here. So I am just going to glue these down using Scotch Create glue. And because I'm going to sew around the edges of my journal cover, usually we'll do a zigzag stitch. I really, if it's not sticking down exactly in the on the edge, that's okay, because I can catch it with the sewing machine. So I'm going to just glue that down. It's pretty good. It's pretty sticky glue. You can see my hands got dirty somehow. Need a wipe. My wipes. So baby wipes could be your friend. And I think I'm going to try to gently rub this, see if that comes off without hurting the paper. All right, I think that might be okay. Now next is this practical mathematics, and because I only want to put this here, maybe I'll rip it right down the center, and then we don't have to cut it too much, and put it on. So I'm going to just glue right on the cover this time. That, and then I'll go back in and trim it, and then come back in and actually glue that separately. I might come in with a little bit of a different glue to do those little tiny edges without ripping it. And then the wagon wheels, going to go down here. I'm going to actually tear this corner here because it's sticking up and bothering me. Oh, I guess I'm going to cover the 22. That's okay though. I like the wagon wheel. The wagon wheels. So, the Sears and Roebuck, I found a book in a antique shop, and it didn't have a price on it, and it was just, it's all what do they call it, reproduction. And when I brought it up to the cashier, they didn't know what to charge for it, and it's a big thick book, and they called the person who was selling it in the shop, and they just said they didn't know what it was, so they charged me $3, which was an awesome price. But you can also find these online, eBay, things like that. All right, so that's actually one side done. And for the second side, so we do want to do the middle. Maybe I'll use this piece for the middle spine area. Didn't rip it very well. That's okay though. Look at that. That looks pretty good. Just like that. And then I'll come in later actually and trim the edges as we're going. I'm going to try to get it close to the edge, but I'm going to overlap on this side too. So let's get down to the bottom. Just watching my timer, trying to keep you guys under 10 minutes. That's how I like to watch videos. Nice and short. Nice short videos. All right. And then next is this side, so the back. And maybe I'll rip this. I like the torn edge look. And I do not know where this piece of paper came from. It's probably in a swap. But that's where you get some really fun papers that you wouldn't normally have in your own stash. But I've done several swaps, and it's time to start using up all that stuff. Which is probably why some of it was in that bin. Just hanging out, waiting for its day. Okay, so I'm going to try to make sure that I'm catching the little crease for where the fold is for the cover. You know, you want to make sure that it's sticking in the crease there. And then for the bottom, usually I put a pocket in here. So let me continue on this edge. Let me get some shovels in there. So let's do shovels. And a piece of hair. Get that off of there. Shovels and pitchforks. Let's do this. It's my little scraper. Old credit card. All right. Looking good so far. And then, like I said, I usually like to do a pocket on the bottom. And actually, it looks like I need to cover this a little bit. So I had a little piece floating around of a pattern. Like a pattern. No, a sewing pattern. So I want to make sure that that gets covered up. So let's add that. So, lots of great collage papers. Just fun. Different colors, like you want to try to have contrasting paper colors. If they're vintage, it makes it, just gives it a little bit of extra something. And then, like I said, I usually try to do a pocket on the back. So I was thinking this might work well as a pocket for the back. I'm just going to eyeball the size here. See if I can cut it straight. I have such a problem cutting straight. All right. Like this. And then it's going to fit. There's enough room here to bend. And then I thought I'd put the check here, but the check is really too long. So maybe I don't know, maybe not. I could just leave it blue and then do part of my embellishments on this when I do the inside. Because I think I kind of want to keep the check as it is. Isn't that cool? When they didn't have any marker and coating on the bottom. They just punched holes in it. That's how they used to do it. Alright, so I'm going to actually glue this in, and for the pocket I'm going to use tacky glue for the pocket. These aren't I don't use some people will create a tuck, or not a tuck, I don't know what they call it, a little placket, or you know, so that it sticks out a little bit and you have a little bit of room in there, but I actually prefer mine to lay flat. So that's what I'm doing here. What I mean is there's usually a fold, so it gives you a little bit of extra room in your pocket. But I'm just going to make mine flat like this, and then we'll embellish that somehow. I forgot I had my lady. I can totally put her in there somewhere. She looks tough. Her hands in her pocket. What do you think? Why not? Why not? She's gonna go in there. So let's take a little bit of, I'm gonna take a different glue this time. And a little glue stick. Because she's very fragile. Cutting out of a fashion magazine. Usually what I would do is use a wet, like school glue on them. I might come in later and redo it too. But let's see, maybe right about there, and then somehow I'll get her legs stuck in there. Or maybe one leg in and one leg out. What do you think of that? Oh, I can't do one leg out. Oops. Because I have the fold here. Alright. I can, oops, there we go. All right. So I'm going to trim this up, and that'll be the front and the back cover.